Welcome back to the channel, guys. In this one we're going to be looking at the Carpuride W901. So it's their latest Carpuride product, which, if you're not already familiar with these guys, they basically produce Apple CarPlay and Android Auto aftermarket devices for literally every car. Just like with the previous video, guys, there is 30% available across the entire Carpuride video, so just make sure to use the discount code on screen now if this is something you're looking to buy. As this is now the third product in their range that we've reviewed, I'm not going to be focusing too much on the general Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Instead, I'm going to try and keep this review much more about the questions, etc., that you guys have been asking me over the last year or so about their products. So I'll look to answer some of those, but essentially what we'll do is show you what's included inside the box. I'll show you very quickly how to set up Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, and then we'll look at answering some of your questions. So opening the box, you can see you've got the Carpuride unit itself. A very simple, sleek, elegant design with their little logo across the bottom there. Over on the side of the Carpuride, you've got a series of different connections. So starting over on the left is your power, so that's the 12-volt connection. You've then got a USB, so this is where you can plug in a data USB stick or the USB cables for your phones. You then have the AV out, so this is if you wanted to connect out to a different monitor, etc., you could do that here. And then a cam in, so if you want to see what the reverse camera function looks like, I highly encourage you to go back and watch my previous video review of the Carpuride product. That's where I've shown how the reverse camera works and how to wire it up. You've then got a SD card slot, and finally a microphone slot as well if you wanted to connect an external mic. So that's the unit itself. You have some instruction manuals with some nice images, making it very straightforward how to use. You've got your auxiliary cable, so this is if you want to connect without using the Bluetooth function or the inbuilt FM transmitter. You can of course connect the auxiliary cable if your car supports a aux-in feature. A 12-volt power cable, and then finally you have two types of mount. So the first one is a suction mount, so this can go on your windscreen or on your dash. It's pretty adjustable, so you can see you can basically adjust the angle and you can choose how far in and out the mount actually goes. And then the next mount is a adhesive mount, like for your dashboard as well, for example, so you can just literally peel that off, stick it on and mount your Carpuride like that. So for the purposes of this video, that's what I'll do for now, and we'll talk you through some of the features. Right, so first thing we'll do is just plug in the power cable. So that's done. The Carpuride W901 will boot up. And as quickly as that, it's up and running. So this is the familiar interface that you're probably used to if you've seen any of my other Carpuride video reviews. So essentially you've got your Apple CarPlay, your Android Auto, AirPlay, which is a mirroring functionality for iPhone users, Autolink, which is a mirroring functionality for Android users, Equalizer to adjust the inbuilt settings of audio settings of the unit, Bluetooth, so if you want to connect devices, stream music, as well as make phone calls, that's where you do it from. USB, which a couple of you asked me about in my previous videos. So this is essentially what you use to play your media. Again, it's the same if you're using an SD card or a USB. It's just, it basically has two capabilities to do a similar thing. Transmit, so this is the dual function of the unit. So it is able to actually transmit audio through an FM transmitter. So how this works is you basically just set up your stereo, you choose a frequency within the Carpuride unit, and on your car stereo you would actually go in and set the frequency to match. So for example 89.5, if you set that on the Carpuride and then come back and set it on your car stereo, the audio will come through your car speakers. Of course, like I mentioned earlier, you can use the aux cable to get a little bit of a crisper sound. Alternatively, there is the dual Bluetooth functionality, which I know was there on the last model, but it was a bit of a hit and a miss, and I mentioned that in my video, depending on the type of car you have. These newer models are supposed to be a lot more reliable, so let's just start getting the Bluetooth paired up and use that as our first test for the W901. So what we're going to do is go into Transmit. We'll choose Bluetooth Transmit, and there you can see it's searching now for different Bluetooth devices. What I'll do at the same time is I'll open up the Bluetooth settings on my car. So as I've gone into my car settings, pressed pair new device, and my car's telling me use my device to search for Jaguar E-Pace, which it's come up immediately on the Carpuride there. So I'm just going to click into it. And on my car display, it now says verify these numbers match up with the display on the Carpuride. So I'm just going to press yes. It's basically a passcode. And now it should be as simple as that in terms of the audio and streaming it through my car. So the next step is, guys, for us to now check that this is all working, is to actually go back and play something through the car stereo. So now that everything's connected, guys, again on my actual Jaguar stereo, I've had to go to source and change to the Bluetooth source. This then allows me to stream music through. So what I'm going to do now is actually take this opportunity to show you how you stream music off your USB or SD card. So you can see here I've got a USB stick plugged in. Then if I click the USB, you can see it's automatically picked up the audio, right? So this is playing something that's safe to play off YouTube. And you can see it's playing through the Carpuride. And just to show you how it works, you can press pause, you can go to your next song. So this is showing you the dual Bluetooth functionality of the unit. And over here you can see that it's connected to the Carpuride via Bluetooth. So you can of course stream all of this through Android Auto, CarPlay as well. But I thought it was a good way just to show you guys how the USB aspect works as well. So basically what you do is you click down here and you can see you've got audio, photo and video. So depending on these tabs, you go through and you select the different files that you want. So I went into audio, I'd preloaded some copyright free music here, and that's effectively what I'm playing. So just again to show you that, I'll click that. And you can hear it coming through the speakers. So I have to say they've definitely improved this, because the previous version that I tested did not actually work with this car. I had to then try it on my second car to get the Bluetooth working. So it's definitely a lot more compatible. So they seem to have fixed that issue, which is really, really good. The next bit that I'll concentrate on is just showing you some of the settings that you've got within it to come and work with. So you can change the language, you can choose whether you want the device speaker. So the Carpuride actually has an inbuilt speaker in there. You can turn it on and off. You can obviously come down and choose different settings for your phone. So this is effectively setting the default for what happens when you connect to Android phone or iPhone. So by default it will launch Android Auto if you connect to Android, and by default it will load Apple CarPlay. So I know they're called slightly different things, it's just the way that it is on the unit, but it will launch CarPlay, and I'll show you that in a second. Wi-Fi, so this is if you need to connect to the unit, this is effectively your tethering hotspot. And then video warning, so you can turn this off. This is, again, I showed you on the USB there, if you wanted to watch videos etc, you'd have to turn that off. That's because you're not allowed to be watching whilst driving. But you can turn on the parking lines. So in the previous video, like I said, I showed how to set up the reverse camera. That's basically settings for if you've gone for that option. So the W901 comes with or without a reverse camera. The package I've got in review right now is without. They're both identical units, except it's just literally missing the plug-in. So coming back out to the home screen, one of the other things I'll show you just right now is the Autolink function. So I was often asked, how are you able to stream YouTube, etc. So I'll just recap that because I'm not sure I covered it on my last video. So Autolink is a mirroring aspect for Android, and essentially what you do is you plug in your phone via a cable, download a selected app, and then you're good to go with the mirroring. So the first thing you're going to want to do is go to the Google Play Store and download the Autolink app. So simply press install, press open, just agree to the statement there, and then you should be greeted with this. Now there's a reason this isn't working, and a few of you have missed this in my previous videos, so I'll just reiterate what you need to do. If we jump back to the settings on the Carpuride, you'll remember when I went down here I said what's the default behavior for when you connect to Android phone or an iPhone phone. So in the Android, what we're going to do now is change it from launching Android Auto. We now want the default behavior to be launch Autolink, which is the mirroring application. So let's just click that, jump back out to the home. This will need to be tethered, so you do actually need to connect a cable. So what we'll do is unplug and plug it back in. And you can see here, open Autolink to handle Autolink. Just say yes and okay. It wants to use the device's location. I'm just going to say don't allow, and I'm not going to allow it to make phone calls. It wants to start recording. That's how it does the mirroring. So we'll click start now. And you can see up on screen, I've now got my Play Store. So that's where I downloaded the app from. I can go to the home screen and you can basically see that's my Android phone running there. So you can do a couple of things. You can open up the web browser. So I'll do that. And as you start typing, you'll see in a second, as it loads the web page up, I can flip it sideways just to make it a little bit bigger. And then you can actually scroll on the device itself. So this is effectively now become an extension of my phone, so I can actually click into things. I can type on here. So let's just type, I don't know, go to this website just because I've got it open. Probably need it later to create some of the thumbnails, but you get the idea. So you can literally use your Android phone on here as an extension. So there it is connected in the cable, and as you can see in the back, as I'm scrolling here, everything scrolls. So it's nice and live. So just remember that you have to jump back to the settings and make sure you're choosing the Autolink function. So for now, I'm going to switch it back to Android Auto, as that's the end of the mirroring demonstrations. And now in the next step, we'll show you how to connect Android Auto. You can do it via the cable, just like we did with Autolink, although it's much quicker and easier to do it wirelessly. So I'll go into there. It tells you, go into your smartphone settings and search for Carpuride, which I've already done here. So you can see my pairing request is already there. It's found as a device and it's ready to pair. So I'm just going to press pair. And you can see that it's basically loaded everything up. So apologies, the first snippet of that was blocked out. It was just so I had a chance to move the maps around on Google Maps, but essentially you get the idea. This is your standard Android Auto. You can see you can go into your Spotify. Everything's nice and responsive. I'm not going to play this, but just the same way that the USB was playing songs earlier, everything will come through my car completely wirelessly, completely through Bluetooth. So again, hats off how well this is really working. We'll just test the Google Assistant quickly. What's the weather like today in London?
Today in London, it'll be mostly cloudy, with a forecast high of 18 and a low of 10.
So there you go, there's the idea. I've actually got the car running right now and I have the air conditioning on as well. Hopefully you heard that came through the speakers just the same way the audio did through the USB playback earlier. But essentially guys, this is basically it. Android Auto works exactly the way you'd expect. I do believe it works without touching the screen as well, so let's try this. Hey Google, what's the weather like tomorrow?
Tomorrow in London, it'll be partly cloudy, with a high of 22 and a low of 10.
So you get the idea. It works completely hands-free as well. Really cool. When I've used their previous products, when we've been driving on the road, etc., I've had no problem having to pick my voice up, etc. So just before we wrap the video up, guys, I will quickly show those of you interested in the Apple CarPlay, how that works, how you can link up to it. So we will go to CarPlay. And similar thing, it tells you go to Bluetooth and find this particular ID. So we'll wait for it to load up. And there it is. We'll connect into it. Click pair. Allow. Use CarPlay. You can see here the phone's over here, but now everything's fully working. So really nice and responsive. I actually do like the size of this one. So it's a 9-inch screen. So it's not too bad in terms of visibility. It's very slimline, which is good, and very easy to look around. You get the idea. You've got your maps, etc. So I'm not going to go too much into the detail, but you get the idea. You'll be able to say, hey Siri, as well as the other things, just to get it working. So that's how you get Apple CarPlay connected. So let me just jump back out. You can see there at the top, you've actually got the CarPlay icon came up, similar to the way that Android Auto was. This is how you can effectively jump between the two. So hopefully that's given you a bit of an insight into the Carpuride W901, guys. To me, it is a worthwhile upgrade of the previous models, just because of how seamless the Bluetooth integration works. So I've shown some of that whilst I was filming, but it was just literally, honestly, first time everything worked. And yeah, I wasn't really expecting that, because I know the last time I used their previous product in this Jaguar E-Pace, it was troublesome, so troublesome that I had to actually switch to a second car to show it working. So they've definitely changed something, and it's all for the good. Then the other aspect that I really like on this is actually the size of this one. So it's a 9-inch, and this is in a Jaguar SUV. And if I just show you here, it's actually not that bad in terms of the space that is taken up. So I'll just show you that, just to give you a bit of an idea. So this is a big old dashboard, but whereas the previous one was very long and very tall, this one just looks like it's a bit more designed to be there. And I've actually seen some of you guys have done some really cool stuff with this. So you've put comments and stuff down, and I've actually looked at some of the posts on Facebook where you've gone as far as embedding this into your dash. Obviously I wouldn't do that on this car because it's already got Android Auto and Apple CarPlay built in, but hey ho, it's my test car and I need to show you one way or another how these devices work. So yeah, I'm really impressed. Like I said, it's very low key, it's got their little logo on there, but again, if you were recessing this into your dash or had another use for it, I'm sure you could do something to hide that. The other things that I may not have touched on previously is these touch buttons at the top. So you can see you can click there, adjust your volume, and just like that, my car's kicked into power save mode. So I'll just turn the ignition back on and wait for it to boot up. This boot logo, actually, I should mention, is completely customizable. So I could have a Jaguar logo on there. You could actually even send Carpuride your own image, your favorite image, and they can actually, before they dispatch the unit to you, have that image on there. But yeah, guys, overall, very good. The features that we love the most from the previous products have made their way over. So the CarPlay works exactly the same. You can see there the Android Auto's picked back up again, works exactly the same, very reliable. Guys, let me know if you have any more questions about this product. They have got a motorbike version. Is that something you'd want to see? I haven't got access to a motorbike, but of course I can always source that and find one. Steve, if you're listening, might have to lean on you for that. But if you wanted to see the motorbike versions of these, I'm more than happy to do a review on that as well. So leave a comment down below. Make sure you give this one a fat thumbs up, and we'll see you in the next one. Thank you very much for watching, guys.